I've seen some of Ben's workouts and that kind, that's all. 10k every day on these treadmills for the month of Feb, aren't you, Ben?
Sure am. He's in a coma and we're being told that he probably won't survive, and to contact relatives and get to come to the hospital and things. Me and Micheal McIntyre were a surprise tag team. Other things is, I used to be really, really overweight, as in well over 20 stone. The biggest compliment you could give me is that. They said if we don't operate, he's going to die. And if we do operate, realistically, he's going to pass away. Thank you, boys.
Absolutely inspiration. Welcome to another episode of Run Out of Breath podcast. Today we've got Ben Cross.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, Ben?
Not too bad considering.
Different scenery today. We're in there, actually in a gym on a treadmill. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into that shortly. But I know Ben, so does Andy. I know Ben because Ben kindly about a year and a half ago invited me to train with him. And
I don't know if kindly, is kindly the right word?
Well, yeah, it wasn't kind. The training wasn't kind, but he was kind enough. I've seen some of Ben's workouts and not kind, that's all. Ben's an absolute animal. So, yeah, done plenty of training with Ben. I know how to train, and it's very, very, very intense. But nothing but hard work from Ben. You know Andy from, Ben Andy, don't you, from sort of similar places, probably in the gym as well. Yeah, I just know you from around the gym, don't we, Ben?
Yeah, I think.
Meeting, doing similar sort of exercises, and some of the general chit chats.
I think.
Both done high rocks, haven't we, Ben?
High rocks and
get that one quiet from me.
And all sorts of stuff is almost bringing people in this gym more together than it's ever done before. Used to go to the gym and no one talk to each other, whereas now it feels like there's groups forming constantly.
It was only from social media stalking. I noticed you did the high rocks.
Yes,
get that one quiet. I did 2022, wasn't
it? You probably know better than me if you've been stalking, but I definitely did one solo that I was not prepared for, and then I've done 2 pairs. Last pair was the best one, and I probably should at some point do another one because I've never done them in running trainers. I've always done them in like CrossFit trainers.
Wow.
Which is stupid, but there was a theory. The theory was my back's bad when I run, and I thought they were more supportive. And then since I started running in running trainers, I realised that was a really bad theory, and I should have invested in some running trainers.
Yeah, because looking back at the picture you did it in Manchester, it's a lot quieter event than it is today.
When I did it, no word of a lie, my boys came to support, and they could stand next to me at every station. And then I went about 2 years later, and you couldn't move in the venue, it was rammed.
But going back to why we're in here today, so Ben's on with something really important this month, and he's running 10k every day on these treadmills for the month of Feb, aren't you, Ben?
Sure am.
Why are we doing that?
I'm attempting to do that. Still early on, yeah.
He's got it. He's 100% got this. Ben doesn't give up on stuff. I think that's why his training sessions are so intense. Is put a lot of pressure on yourself, though, don't you?
In terms of training, in absolute truth, it's probably the one part of life where I feel like I can really push and feel almost, I don't know, a sense of achievement, a sense of success out of it. I am not really skilled in many areas of life at all. So when you come to the gym or if you do a competition or whatever, you push yourself, push the boundaries of what you think you're capable of.
Yeah.
You always feel miles better after it, as long as it goes well. And I've had ones where it's not gone well and it has the complete reverse effect. Ruins my brain for a bit. But no, so in terms of this one is a specifically sort of numbered or timed event because when my eldest son Charlie was 4, which was now 10 years ago, he was really poorly and he spent a month in Manchester Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
So the 10 a day is for 10 years ago.
Right.
And then doing it for the month is the duration that he was in hospital. So even if I wanted to quit, there's absolutely no way I'm going to bin it off now because when I do these sorts of things, he's who's in my mind, and when you go to dark places in events or stuff. Sounds over the top, but I promise you it's not. That's what sort of comes into my mind as you can't sort of quit, or you can't bin it off or not finish it when loads of people have it 100 times worse than me.
It's definitely a good outlook, and it's good to have stuff like that to get you through sessions, especially ones where you're like this, being really challenging yourself. But going back to the reason why you're like Charlie, I mean, that's been quite at the forefront at the moment for you, hasn't it? Because not long ago you were on McIntyre Big Show.
I was, for my sins.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, without boring you with the background details, the last few years have not been kind to me in terms of how I deal with stuff. But it all stems from big events in my life, bad, say, negative events. I've gone from 0 to 100 in no time. So my mum passed away when I was young, but there was no build up to it. Or what it was, I don't remember it being. I just remember coming home from hospital, saying she had an X amount of time to live. Within a really short space of time, she was in a hospice. I really traumatic, emotionally experience that I don't think I've ever got over. And I've probably had times lately where it's hit me harder than ever. So when my son was poorly, again, he was absolutely fine. 24 hours later, he's in a coma and we're being told that he probably won't survive, and to contact relatives and get to come to the hospital and things. And then my wife, Nicola, one of the things we did after Charlie was poorly was we walked from Manchester Hospital to Blackpool Hospital.
Wow.
And quite a few people joined. It was an amazing event. It took us about 18 hours or something stupid. And then she was a bit poorly afterwards that we thought was just hydration or something. And she had headaches for years in the... I guess pre us doing that.
I was going to mention this. I think we've touched on this, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like you talked to me about it. Sorry.
No, so good. She went to the doctor and they thought it was stress related from Charlie being poorly.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm honest, we didn't question because
it was all around the same time.
She started getting ill after that. So it made absolute sense. Almost, and this is their words, not mine. Like post-traumatic stress. You've seen your son nearly die. How you cope with that. And but actually, she collapsed a few times. Ended up in Blackpool, and it's a long story, but she's got this thing called, she had something where her brain at the back was sat too low, sat too close to her spinal cord, so there wasn't fluid flowing.
Right.
So they did a big operation, create a gap to get fluid in, and she's just been dead unlucky. And that was like 6-7 years ago. She's at a point now where they can't do anything to correct it. She's doing all right, but she had to retire from work.
Yeah.
Loads and loads of things that I could go into forever. But anyway, all those things together have made me have a mind of when something's happening, what's the worst case scenario, because that is what's going to play out. Which I know is ridiculous. I know it is, but it's still hard to switch off from it. But anyway, I started doing challenges after Charlie was poorly. One, to give back to the hospital, some small way of saying thank you.
Yeah.
One, I think, for my own brain, if I'm honest with you, to keep me occupied, to keep me busy.
With it as well.
100%. And I guess in ways as well, the boys inspire me massively. They do so much stuff.
Yeah.
They're amazing kids, and of course I'm biased, but they do unbelievable stuff. And they've started getting involved in the challenges, which is like my proud, seeing the kids push themselves through to me to give back to something. Exactly. So, and then all of this kind of came to a beautiful thing that TV company got in touch with me and said, I wanted to do a story, but originally the story they said was about a pilot, if you will, TV show looking at families who raise money. So I was like, yeah, I'm into it. All four of us had an interview with this guy. All seemed okay. I thought great exposure for the hospital. There's nothing bad about it.
They approached you about it?
Yeah. But we've not the real story through Instagram. And even then I was a bit like, is this above board or whatever?
Yeah.
But it seemed it. So we had this call. A week later I had another call, but he said, just come on your own. And I was thinking it was because you know, Charlie's 14, Dexter's 11.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit too much like getting the hopes up, you know, then thinking we're going to be on TV, and it wasn't going to be playing out that way. So I didn't question it. And then on this call, it says, how do you think it went? I was like, well, Charlie's a teenage boy, didn't actually say much. I'm the most emotional person in the world. I was crying my eyes out. So I guess probably not that well. And he was like, you came across great, but it's not actually true. And we're holding a bit of a secret from you, which was like, I have no idea where this is going.
So even the auditions were...
Oh, mate, everything about it was all...
So even for your kids, the audition was a bit of a... Similar to
essentially,
McIntyre.
I think they wanted to get to see what the family's like. And the interview was supposed to be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it ended up being an hour. And in hindsight, at the time it didn't, but in hindsight, they talked about wrestling a lot, which I didn't question, you know, that's what they're into. And they've done charity stuff. Obviously, they were trying to pull that out because then
Betting you a little bit.
on the second call, it was like, we work for a TV company that does gladiators. And Micheal McIntyre, I was thinking, am I going on gladiators here? I don't know. And then essentially they wanted to do a surprise for the boys, which you can probably imagine made me cry my eyes out again on the phone to two strangers. And then this beautiful sort of surreal, weird experience then played out where me and Micheal McIntyre were a surprise tag team at a WWE event. Boys had no idea. The way they did it was that they'd won tickets to a show. So they came, but then right at the last minute, when there was a match on, I had to go and take a work call. And then the next thing, I was in a ring, literally the most scared I've ever been in my life, thinking I was going to have a heart attack or collapse or something.
I mean, just
but it played out beautiful.
For anyone that hasn't watched it, get yourself onto BBC iPlayer. I know Ben, and we've had this chat, and I still got upset watching it. It is a really, really good story. It's presented so well for you and your family. I mean,
Thank you.
it is, but everything else you do around it so inspirational because obviously, like I said, I've tried training you for quite a bit now, but you do still beat yourself up
Oh, yeah,
in relation to your training and how fit you are and your capabilities. You definitely don't give yourself enough credit for the level of fitness you're at. So it's not, like I say, it's not inspirational for your kids and stuff. I think for the people in the gym, like, there's a lot of people in the gym that know how you train. And like, I looked at you when I first started, before I even started, and I thought, there's no way I can train with you.
I think on that, and I'm sure that you two have elements of this as well, because it's the one thing I find I can go to and I drift away from the stresses and whatever, you know, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever, your mind is go and kill yourself and you'll feel better after it. But I genuinely go to the gym sometimes, and if it doesn't go well, for whatever reason, you don't hit the numbers you want to hit at the time of it, that really plays in my mind quite darkly. And I've had times where I've done a workout in the morning and then I'm back again in the afternoon. Stupid, because your body's always recovering.
Yeah.
But I'm like, didn't go well, need to do that again. And it's weird because I'm not impressing anyone. Most people don't even know I'm just doing it on my own. But there's just something there. Yeah, exactly. A drive inside. Plus, I don't put any pressure on the kids when it comes to achievements or awards or medals. I don't care in the slightest bit. And I'm the proudest dad in the world, but I genuinely don't. But to me, one is you respect levels. You know, if someone's giving up their time to help you, it's the minimum. You're showing respect and you're well behaved. And the other one is you graft. There's nothing else I'd rather see. Work hard, don't matter if you come last. You give it everything, no one can ever ask anymore.
Yeah, but going back to that point, you're almost punishing yourself for a bad session.
Yeah, massively.
You don't need it, because every day you wake up slightly different, don't you? Sometimes you wake up ready for it. Sometimes you don't. So even though you don't think you've done a lot, you probably have. I mean, we're all guilty for it. I did the same. Like, last night I came, I was lifting weights, and at the end of it I was like, probably not a worthwhile session after lifting, like you say, heavier weights I need to that's to make a difference. But you can come into the gym anytime, good though, isn't it?
One, and I'm probably the best supporter of somebody else, as in I'll talk them through nutrition, I'll talk them through rest, I'm talking my, you know, easy days are as good as hard days. But in my own head, I just don't live by that sort of. And it's stupid. I went to uni and did sports studies degree. It's not like I don't know all the details. And I'm quite obsessive when it comes to like watching YouTube videos on, you know, performance improvements. But for whatever reason, and some of it comes down definitely to trauma and grief and things. Other things is I used to be really, really overweight, as in well over 20 stone. And I have a day off. Yeah.
We need a picture of that then.
Oh, we've got them, mate. I don't mind sharing them.
Oh, right, well, that's exactly what we'll do in this podcast.
That can be the thingy.
Is I will get Ben to send me over these pictures.
Yeah.
There's no way this guy.
And I was
a
heavy drinker, which I love, by the way. Don't make any excuses for. At the time, that is what I was at uni.
Yeah.
Mum passed away when I was at uni. Probably a bit of a coping mechanism. I don't know. Plus, I just loved it. I was laughing to all the party. A happy drunk, not an aggressive or I love boozing. But then what I find now is I can kill myself and then rest day plays with my mind, as in, you know, and I don't have a great relationship with food. I don't eat enough. I know I don't. And if I went to speak to a nutritionist, they'd be like, you are not putting enough in your body and you get no benefits if you did.
For the work you do in the body.
But to be honest, I've sort of found a very broken way of ticking through the days, and it works for me, and if it works for me,
keep it going.
it's all right.
Let's go back to these challenges, Ben.
Yes.
You mentioned the Manchester to Blackpool one. I didn't know about that, but I've done it. I mentioned to you, I've done that before, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's on your feet. And I've also looked on social media, 4 marathons in one day.
Yep.
Do you want to explain that one? It's impressive. What was that? Sorry, I missed that.
We did, as a pair, we did a marathon run, marathon bike, marathon row, marathon ski. Like 1K on, 1K off.
That sounds horrible. I mean, there must be a reason you did it. Was there a charity thing?
Yeah, to be honest, all the bigger stuff I do all goes back to the hospital.
Right, no, that's fine.
But there is some stupid, like, one of the worst ones. And you know what? When it comes to running, you two are good runners, I am. I'm not. I wish I was. But I sort of have that love-hate relationship with running. Of when I finished it, I probably get a greater sense of achievement than any other exercise. But like if I do 1,000, so 1 month I did 15,000 burpees. And it sounds impressive to people who know what burpees are. And it was a hell of a lot every day.
Hey, that's impressive to people.
But honestly, no.
Anyway.
I think people who don't know what burpees are kind of go, oh, that sounds hard. Whereas you say you run 10K every day. I think pretty much everyone can relate to that. Because running's so universal. Everyone's done it at some point or whatever.
10 burpees in a row is hard enough.
Yeah, it was.
15,000.
It was certainly a lot. But then, yeah, some of the... So I did that one.
I got the 1 million metre challenge as well.
Yeah, I think that was the 2 worst ones for different reasons. I did one on my own that was 1,000 wall balls, 1,000 calories on a bike, and 1,000 burpees. Just 10, 10, 10, 100 times. And I went way too quick. And I did it where I averaged 17.5 reps a minute, which in hindsight, if I just tried to do that for like half an hour, I think was a struggle. I did it for like 3 hours or whatever it took. And then I was violently sick after it. But I was dead happy. I was dead happy that I pushed myself even when it was rough. And then the two of us said we'll do 500k each in 24 hours.
On a CT bike.
On a CT bike. And it's weird because it wasn't a crazy pace. And usually anytime I hit halfway on the challenge, on this one, I'm hoping that when I get to the middle of the month, I go, I just need to do it again. And if you've proven you can do it, there's no reason other than excuses why you can't do it again.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, on that bike, when I got to halfway, and it was about 11 hours in, and I was thinking, I'm not sure I've got this in me to do this. It was quite and then my mate who did it got injured. So the last few hours, it was like early hours of the morning, the closed gym in the pitch black. And I've already been quite, that was a dark place, mate.
I've seen the pictures, eating a pizza on a bike. Yeah. Millions of food next
just
year.
Anything. I've learned from mistakes. I've done CrossFit competitions in the past where going back to this body issue thing, and I know it's stupid, but if I turned up to a CrossFit competition I didn't want to eat food because of the way I looked, rather than the fact that it would improve my performance by taking carbs on this.
Yeah,
it's stupid, mate. It's absolute nonsense. But sometimes the brain is a powerful thing, and it is what it is. I think when it came to that, I'd spoke to enough people who were like, if you don't feel you will not come back, your just body won't, he'll shut down on you.
And
So I was well enjoying pizza.
Talking about not fueling properly, that probably brings me into my Great North Run story. Right, back in the day, I was a bit of an amateur runner. Didn't really know too much about it. Went for the Great North Run. Training I thought was spot on, but it wasn't. Is this your embarrassing story? I had to go for it.
It's not a pull of abgraph, is it? You're not going to tell me a total accident.
So I was training, but I weren't training far enough or long enough or getting enough volume in. On the day, worried about toilet situations, so minimise fluid intake.
Yeah.
Minimise food intake. And fries, 17.5k, passed out.
Oh, man.
Didn't even finish it. It's the weirdest sensation ever. 1 minute you're running on the road, next minute you're in a wheelchair, in a St. John's ambulance tent, someone talking to you like you're 5 years old.
See, I've got to be honest, I love that. Because that shows to me that's someone who's willing to and just in life, but in something like that, we all learn from our mistakes. You learn miles more from something that doesn't go well than you do from something that does go well, don't you?
Yeah, 100%, because that's where I came to. He was basically saying, you're not fueled right, not to feel fluids.
It's a harsh lesson to learn, but it's a good lesson.
Honestly.
Have you ever been in a situation, Ben, where you've got a serious injury, or something that's stopped you from doing what you're doing at the time? You've done a lot of events, a lot of charity, raising. I imagine it's not all smooth sailing.
No, mate, no, 100% not. Especially now, I'm 43. Those niggles that you used to be able to just get through become bigger and don't recover as quickly. Don't get out of bed that easily, if I'm being completely honest with you. The worst one that comes to memory, and again, this is more for me than anyone else. I did a Deadly Dozen event in my back when I was about 2 stations in, and I could have finished it maybe, but it would have been like walking. And I was dead set on what time I wanted to be, and I'd really grafted. Training had gone great. I was getting times way quicker than I thought, and I left 3 stations maybe. And I walked off and there was people there anyway. I didn't speak to anyone. And I was tearing up. And I got in the car. And mate, that negatively impacted my brain for way longer than it should. Almost to the point where I've been off any running event. Obviously I've come round since, but completely when I'm not doing it. And it took me about 6 to 9 months. And then there was another Deadly Dozen that was row instead of run. And I did it, but I did it on my own, didn't tell anyone. And I was the last person on in the day, about 7 at night. And it couldn't have gone better. But it was more important that I'd almost cleared them demons, like, put it to bed. For me, not for anyone else. Kids didn't care, mate. Got all my kids like, what's for tea? I don't care what I don't know. Good or bad, they have no, I guess in a good way, no concept to what is good or bad.
Yeah.
You see, in a lovely way, they know about these challenges because they've done some. But I'm way prouder of that stuff they've done than anything I've done. And as all of us parents would be. I watch my kid do. Charlie's got big skin graft on his chest. And for years after it impacted in massive ways, physically and emotionally. Like I remember once, it was actually before High Rocks. Just before, due to High Rocks, stayed at a hotel. We don't have loads of mirrors in the house. Loads of mirrors in a hotel room. And he looked in this mirror and said, I don't like the way my chest looks. I want it to look like the other side. And then within a second, he moved on to something else. And it was, mate, my heart fully broke. Yeah. I've never felt more crushed. And I was like, then about, a year later, he's doing 100 burpees a day, smashing his chest into the floor. And in his last day, he did 100 burpees, I should know, but I think it was under 7 minutes. And I swear to you, tell anyone in this gym, go and do 100 burpees as quick as you can. Oh. And the pride I had, mate, because he gritted it, because it was rough about 50 in, because he went out like a rocket and he dug in. And seeing this little lad who's got big skin graft on his chest, who's willing to push himself. Mate, that's what, if I'm being dead, just basic and kind of like what life's about, I am a lost cause, me. I've had ups and downs. And I sort of like giving up. I'm not giving up on myself, that's the wrong way. I don't care as much about it.
Yeah.
But I care about my boys and I want them to get the most out of it.
And I think that's one thing that me and Andy both say is, obviously I trained you and I spoke to you about a lot of this anyway, but just what a good dad you are. All I see on your socials is how much time you got to Bex and Charlie. You've got so many different things on, and you're always busy, but it's never, and it's easily done. This isn't like a,
I whinge as much as anyone as well.
No,
just as and I doubt myself, mate. I have daily things of Charlie's 14 now. Being a dad to a 14-year-old boy is a weird scenario. And I'm like, am I too harsh on this? Am I too soft on this? Same as every single other person. I am winging it, mate. Massive. But my heart is in the right place, I'll say that.
I mean more for like the amount of using. I mean, like, so we've got kids, young kids as well. And with all the will in the world,
Yeah.
But it's not always as easy as that. There's a lot of other things that get involved, just life in general, sort of doing things that they want to do. But honestly, then, you're non-stop with him. It's so good to see. Every time I talk to you, I was at football this weekend. Oh, we went for football away trip with the lads. Oh, we were at wrestling tonight. Got drama school today. It just never got so. Like I say, going back to the whole inspirational thing, they've definitely got such a good role model.
I appreciate you saying that because genuinely, the biggest compliment you could give me is that. And
true though.
I've probably had things as well, mate, where you sit and watch your kid in a coma for a week, and the things that play through your head there, and there's only you. I'm not getting anything back, obviously, it's just my head that's going to dark places or sad places, or why didn't you do this with them? Why did you go on your phone instead of reading them? You know, so when you've had that, you almost have no excuse coming out of it, mate, you know, like.
Yeah.
And in the same way, it's made me bad, because I'm the dad who, if your kid gets injured, I'm lifting him up and carrying off the pitch, and you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to sort of say to him, you need to toughen up a bit, and I'm like, it's my fault that they are that way. But that's just learning, that's just life, mate. None of us are perfect, are we? So.
That's, you mentioned a few times like Charlie being poorly. So just so people are aware of what the actual issue was.
Yeah.
I know it as a flesh-eating disease. I know it is an F. I'll do a disservice of trying to pronounce it. I don't know if you want to explain a little bit about it.
Necrotizing fasciitis. And I think it's probably more common that people get it in like your extremities, your outer limbs. And as awful as this is, if you get it in your legs, you get it in your arms, I think it spreads so rapidly that a lot of people lose it. What happened with Charlie is he had chicken pox. He will have had some form of a skin infection that would not have caused any other issues at any other time. And bearing in mind, when I was a kid, you had chicken pox parties, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I look at it very differently now. Because he had some of his innocuous chicken pox, but this thing got inside them and it spread rapidly, and we were dead lucky because the paediatrician at Blackpool Victoria Hospital, when I work, that's where I work, I took him in and you could just sense he was all right. They were getting him on IV drips. He was, you know, he'll be okay in an hour. And then as the day progressed, it was like, I remember saying specifically, I said, how worried do I need to be here because you're making me worried? Like, it just that it changed almost the atmosphere.
So what triggered you taking to hospital though? So he had chicken pox.
So he had chicken pox. He said his arm was sore.
Right,
but, and this is awful. Luckily, I've always been a worrier. But in the same way, Charlie's always been like, if he bumps his knee, he's like, broke his knee, you know, like, he's one of them kids. So his arm was sore, and I was like, you've not done anything to your arm. But anyway, because I'm a worrier, took him to the walk-in, no, x-ray, absolutely fine. But then at night, around his like armpit area, and his chest really started swelling up, and it went a different colour. So it was on like full panic stations. And then they got him over to Manchester. And then in Manchester, I kid you not, maybe 5 minutes I was there, sat in front of a surgeon and an anaesthetist, and said he's got something called necrotizing fasciitis, which essentially is a bit like a sepsis thing, but in your tissue and you spread dead quickly. And if we don't operate, well, they actually said, in truth, which was a very hard thing to listen to, they said if we don't operate, he's going to die. And if we do operate, realistically, he's going to pass away. But you don't have an option, although. So I had to sign these forms that said reason for operation or reason for procedure, life saving. And then this was about midnight. And then they put us in this little room and said, we'll be back after he's had his first op. We sat there for like 6 hours, and there was a knock on the door that I remember, mate, the clearest sound in my mind ever. Knocked on the door, and I thought, you know, stuff in that past life and all that.
Yeah.
Thinking this is not going to end well. It's no, it's. And it's it hadn't been okay then. But he said he's come through the first bit. He was in a coma for a week, and he just kept having like more surgery because he cut it away. All was good. Did infection markers and then kept going. Sorry, but it's not. We haven't got it all yet. I need to cut more away, which is why now he's got the whole left side of his chest. All of that's been cut away, like his nipple and everything. And then coming out of that, one of the worst bits was, so all you wanted is to wake up, obviously.
Yeah.
Then after a week, they said, and they get him out of this coma, and it was the happiest day ever. But he woke up and his first words were, I think he said, I don't like it. You know, yeah, let's see, look, 4-year-old boy.
Yeah.
He's trying to be brave. And that's the first time I saw his chest. You know, Dad should be brave, should be look at him. He was bawling my eyes out. It was hard. It was like a shark had bit half his chest away. And I'm not, none of this, I swear, is any exaggeration.
Again, I mean, if you're more than happy to,
yeah, maybe.
definitely put one of those things in just to give people a bit of an insight of the severity of it. Because talking about it one thing, but seeing it, I've seen it is different.
And for that kid now, he's got to manage his life. You know, kids are cruel.
Yeah.
Teenage boys especially. And then after that, he then didn't speak for 3 days. And they said, probably 2 scenarios. One is the trauma of it all is fighting him, or the infection spread into his brain.
Right.
So we had 3 days where he was awake, but he can't talk. And I was almost a bit like, it was better with him in a coma where you knew that like certain things were being looked after.
It wasn't possible.
And then after that, when he did talk, then it was just a real long road of, you know, recovery. So he didn't like worry about his chest as much. But what he did do was, when he did the skin graft, it's like the worst friction burn known to man. It essentially slides his skin off your leg.
Where did it take the skin from?
Off his thigh.
Okay.
So now if you look at him, his chest looks different, although it's healed amazingly well.
Yeah.
But his leg is a slightly lighter colour on his left thigh than anywhere else. Because they sliced the skin off, they meshed it, and that's what was used to repair his chest. And then, yeah, mate, he's doing, even though it sounds like all sob to this, and I don't mean it because there's positives, massive positives that have come from it. But even when he got discharged after a month, when going back to Manchester, it was so traumatic for him because he knew what was coming. They were going to change his bandages on his leg and his chest, and often it ripped skin. It was painful. So I think one of the big things that came with the fundraising was, first time he went back, we had a machine called a pain distraction machine, and essentially it was a 3D telly. So they stick 3D glasses on. When they're changing your bandages, you're on a roller coaster or whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, it made such a difference that the first thing I did to raise some money for another one of them.
Yeah.
And that pretty much was what got the ball rolling off. You can't ever thank him enough, obviously. But you can do something, pass back in whatever way possible.
It does sound like a traumatic time in your life. I don't think anyone listening to this will want to go through it. But also, from what you said so far, you took positives out of it, so it changed life.
Yeah, and I think
in a good way.
I think it took time. I think what it did instantly was brought everyone closer together. So like grandparents, I mean, Jesus, he was the most spoiled kid in the world for it. He still is now, in truth.
Yeah.
And I don't really make any excuses for that. But if you've been through that, hard to be any other way. But yeah, I think it gave you a greater appreciation for life.
I just want to say, we'll sort of wrap the pod up in a minute because I think you guys are 7K into this one already. 35 minutes through, so absolutely
distracting me.
Yeah.
Pain.
But I know Andy's got a few points around which we'll touch on a little bit around awareness and stuff, but just to sort of wrap the pod up. But from us two, for everyone watching as well, just want to say thanks, Steph.
Mate, thank you.
For coming on, you just telling everybody, giving everybody that awareness, but also just your fitness and how you are as an inspiration to others. And Oh, you can do it like 24 plus.
I just say one other thing as well.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the fitness, the gym in particular, it won't stick out of my mind, but where you know that like you've built probably as good friendships in here that you do outside.
Yeah.
Well, 2 examples. One when I was in Manchester, one of my best mates who I live with at uni, his brother-in-law has a gym in Manchester. And I know him, but I didn't know him that well at the time. He does high rocks now, actually. He has a gym that all his athletes come to. He messaged me and went, I know you're going through a tough time. Come and train in my gym whenever you want. And mate, just to have that hour escape. And he didn't know me. Well, he did, but he didn't know me that well, I'll say that. And then in here, when the Micheal McIntyre show came out, the amount of people who messaged me who only know me from the hours I walk in and out of the gym in truth, messaged me saying, I've just been crying my eyes out watching you in like fancy dress on the telly. But it means a lot, it really does. Like, you're probably close to these people because everyone's got a story, good or bad. Everyone's going through what they're going through, everyone's got their own motivation. There's a group of like-minded people trying to better themselves or better something essential. Simple as that.
Just to round up about NF, just because I've done a bit of research, you touched on most of the points. But like I say, it's an innocuous disease, it can happen to anyone. And it only takes one certain sort of bacteria to enter the skin, to get deep into the tissue. And that can be via a burn, chicken pox, cut skin, it can be literally nothing. So it can happen to anyone at any point. And as you said, Charlie managed to get through it, but he does have
He was one of the lucky ones, mate. He was.
You have a 40% mortality rate for this disease. It can lead to amputations, skin grafts, but on the other side, it could just get antibiotics to sort it. There's different severities like this with every disease. If anyone is interested in more information, there is a Lee Spark Foundation. It's worth Googling that. A wealth of information, fundraising help, etc. on there. And the awareness month is May. We will put all the details in the description as well. So.
I'll do something.
Yeah, we'll do something
related in May.
We'll join Ben in May.
Anyone's welcome.
Perfect. Well, we will also get that sorted and see how many people can get involved to raise awareness in May. So stay tuned. And we'll put updates on the socials as well for all that. But final thanks to Ben.
Thank you, chaps.
Ben. And what we'll do now is me and Andy will jump off for 2 minutes with the quick fire questions and then we'll finish taking play with Ben. Right, let's move on to the quick fire rounds. Go on, Andy. We know running is not your favourite sport, Ben, but we've got some quick fire running questions for you. What's your favourite type of run? So is it long, short, fast, slow?
It would have been short when I was younger for no other reason than I was too big to do anything long. Whereas now I think steady, plodding away.
Cool. What's your favourite running shoe?
I've got these on, I don't know how to pronounce them. And it's not my favourite, it's because my mate works for them. So he sorted me out. Saucony or something?
Oh, yeah.
Saucony, I don't know.
Saucony, everyone's very differently, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know what the right word is.
When you go out running outside, what's your favourite running song?
I don't run outside much, but I did a 10k once. And my quickest time was because at the halfway point, Florence and the Machine Dog Days came on that properly motivated me.
Nice. Do you prefer to run in the winter or the summer?
Oh, summer, mate, well soft.
Hotter. What about morning or night?
Morning, get it done.
Nice. And last one, what are your running goals for this year?
Finish this in survival.
One last time, then, just want to thank you so much, mate.
Thank you, boys.
Absolute inspiration, and we will see you next time on the pod.
Woo-woo.